Thank you, Asife. I think আমার আগেও এখানে আরো বিজ্ঞ ইকোনমিস্টরা ছিলেন to make comments on this. But ইমরান ভাইয়ের আগে যদি আমার কমেন্ট করতে হয় on this as an economist, what I would say is, let me be very frank here. I'm a little confused when we say things like we need reforms or আমাদের network করতে হবে, কারণ even coming from a position in finance, when I interact with students or when I interact with the masses, I feel like there's a lot of confusion about what you mean by these things. The incentive portion of it, I was not in the country when July happened. My 21 July celebration was happened 5 days after I landed. For the time I was abroad, but I reached it. Actually, সবসময় শুনতাম যে দেয়ালে পিঠ থাকেনি মানুষের, দেয়ালে পিঠ থাকা বুঝলে we will not rise up against wrongdoing. What makes you think about this and the July revolution when I think of the incentives is, I'm not sure we all agree in terms of what will incentivize each of us to do the right thing, and I don't think we should expect to have a consensus there. What will drive you to stand up and protest today might not drive me in the same way. So I don't think we should expect the incentives will align, number one. Coming in from that position, and as I'm an education economist, what takes me back, especially to long-term thinking, is why in the first place did we as a society accept wrongdoing for such a long time? আমাদের গেলে তখনই দেখবো যখন দেখুন আমাদের স্টুডেন্টের উপর আমাদেরই ল এনফোর্সমেন্ট গুলি করছে। এর আগে তো করাপশন হয়েছে, অনেকদিন করাপশন করেছে, there were deaths here and there were forced disappearances. Why did we not move a muscle as a society? Many of us did, but as a society, we were not incentivized সবাই মিলে unanimously to make a dent, to make a difference. So I will refer to a model by Professor Fahad Fulin here. He's a professor at the University of Washington. He works on corruption and bribing, and I remember he has a paper where he explained that সমাজে যদি 10 জন থাকে and we expect to 10 জন ঐক্যবদ্ধভাবে করাপশন কমাবে বা ব্রাইব নেবে না, একজন দুজন যদি বলে আমি ব্রাইব নেব না, the system will not change. It will only change যখন majority of those 10 জন will step up and say না আমরা ঘুষ নিব না. So when I think of incentives, it brings you back to majority. The majority under a big prohibition, and that brings me back to how do we influence the mentality of the majority. And I'm a student in professional world, for my students and for early career researchers like us, the next problem I think we economists have in the next 50 years is how do we influence mentality, how do we influence human behavior? What incentives do we use for different parts of the population to get them on board? And what is our common goal here? And I'm not a network, Murshed said the question to you. If we have different networks, fine, I'm like the actual network world. Should we not expect the actual will have actual motomot? Then are we saying that we want to আমরা কি জনগণকে একসাথে করতে চাচ্ছি, আমরা কি সবাই এগ্রি করতে চাচ্ছি একসাথে? Then what do we say about agency? আমাদের এখান থেকেই যদি আমাদের 10টা টিম হয় এবং we expect যে আমরা 10টা টিম এগ্রি করবো, দেন এটা ডিসাইড করার মধ্যেই কি একটা চলে আসে না যে কোনো একটা টিম হায়ারার্কি চলে আসবে and they will dictate the rest of the 9 teams. মানে এজেন্সিটা কিভাবে we reconcile with making our incentives a common goal? সেখানে আমি মুস্তাক স্যার একটা কথা বলছেন about ethics and morality, and I do believe যে ethics and morality, and which takes us back to education, has a big role to play here. And আপনার একটা রেফারেন্স পয়েন্ট ছিল যে একই মানুষ বিদেশে চলে গেলে ল ঠিকই মানে। What about the same person, and if we go back many ancestors, এই সেম অন্যায়গুলো যদি আমাদের দাদা বা তাদের আগে হতো, is there an argument there যে এখন আমরা আমাদের মোরাল একটা অবক্ষয় হচ্ছে where we accept wrongdoing easily, and why is that? And I think that is where we academics need to ask the question, what are the mechanisms And I would like to know that from you, grappling to the networks, what is the mechanism where I will convince me that networks take we can go to reforms in a united way? What do we mean by united way? When we have so many voices, naturally different voices come. But how do you have an ideology? I have a different ideology. How do we coexist? And now there are common group from back to Bangladesh about fighting this. So how do we academics now send this message out there in an evidence-based way? Okay, if you do this, this will be good for the country, but people matter about themselves. People need to talk about it. People will be more privileged to think that beyond themselves. How do we reconcile that? And I feel like in the conversations, I hope we can dig into the nuances there to understand these mechanisms and nuances. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I think some very important points have been raised in sort of मुझे तो सबके क्वेश्चन करा चाहे I think in one of the response. But at this point, আমি একটু আমাদের সাথে রাজনৈতিক দলের